Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of The Art of Business English, where we help people like you get the language skills you need for doing business in English. Now, I'm a bit sorry to say that last week I got really busy with the end of course, and I'm so sorry I did not release an episode. So you'll have to forgive me because that is probably the first time I've done that in a very long time. So it's okay. I've got my summer program is starting today. So I've been very busy organizing that as well. Thank you to those who have joined the program. It's a pleasure to have you on it. And yeah, get ready for 4 weeks of full-on coaching and sessions over Zoom, and lots of material and lots of learning over this month of July. Okay, let's look at today's episode, which is actually about how you can, express emphasis, or how you can emphasize your feelings in a meeting without getting into trouble. Okay, for example, like expressing disbelief or frustration can sometimes get you into hot water, which is an idiomatic expression. You have to look it up in the dictionary. But how can you express frustration or emphasize your feelings in meetings? And that's what we're going to be looking at today, because we don't want to get into hot water. And that basically means, to get into hot water means, you get into problems because you say things which you shouldn't say, or you're in emotionally charged situation, and maybe you scream and shout, which is not very productive and not a great thing to do in meetings. Let's dive in and look at today's episode. So my first tip is to unleash the power of the pause. Okay, so if you start huffing and puffing, so that's huffing and puffing, raising your voice or showing signs or showing other signs of frustration and distress, then you're not going to come across as very professional. So learn to use the power of the pause when you find yourself in a frustrating situation. And it may sound typical, but taking a breath and counting to 10 and pausing will stop you from making an emotional outburst. Pausing can also make your words hang in the air and make them sound even more impactful. Great speakers know how to use the power of a pause for effect. Think back to your mother. Remember how with just one stone cold look, she could send a shiver down your spine. No words needed. So that's an example, of how we can use the pause. Next, use vocal variations. Change your voice when expressing different feelings. For example, you can say, "Really?" with a cold tone, or you can say, "Wow," with a frustrated tone. So this adds emphasis and energy to your emotions. Controlling your pitch and tone is a great way to express to people that you are annoyed or frustrated. And try and remember that using a flat monotone is the fastest way to become emotionless. And this will make it very difficult for listeners to interpret your real mood. Okay, so if you are happy, you will sound flat and bored. And if you're angry, well, it will sound flat and bored. So it's going to be the same if you speak in a monotone. So monotone, not good for expressing emotion. Quick note, shouting and screaming is not generally recommended when trying to add emphasis. That will increase your influence, okay? It may add emphasis to your words, but it will negatively impact on your influence. The next one is use gestures, okay? Gestures. Obviously, hand gestures play a massive role in non-verbal communication. You can use your hand gestures to add emphasis to everything you're saying, okay? So that's a good tip. You match your hand gestures with your body language, or match your body language with your emotions or what you're trying to say. I think it's important to note that banging your fist on the table won't win you any points with your team in a meeting, so try and avoid that. Shaking your head, on the other hand, or dropping your head to look down can clearly transmit that you are annoyed or disappointed, okay? But don't overdo it. Some other hand gestures can include a raised index finger that is moved from one side to the other, like This would basically express that you do not agree with something. You can also try showing two open palms of your hands and a look of disbelief on your face. You can even mouth the word what like this without actually vocalizing it. But again, be a little bit like careful with, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to look like you're mocking people, but you know, these are some of the gestures that people use natively to show their frustration. Now, finally, remember that running your hands through your hair nervously will transmit to someone that you are very nervous and quite possibly frustrated. So really being aware of your body language is very important if you want to come across as professional. Sometimes, if we are not careful, our body language can betray our true feelings to someone, even when we are trying to keep our cool. So remember that. Your body language often talks or expresses your true feelings, even when you're trying to hide them. Okay, the next one is use some common expressions. And of course, at the Art of Business English, we want to arm you with useful language that you can use in your day-to-day business. So if you want to add emphasis and show that you're a bit annoyed or frustrated without losing your cool, then you can safely use some of the following expressions. 1, it does annoy me when, and you can put you, he, she, they, plus a verb. For example, it does annoy me when staff don't follow the established protocol. Next one. It is extremely irritating when people or staff or customers don't, plus verb. For example, it's extremely irritating when customers cancel at the last minute. There is no way I would, plus verb. There is no way I would contract their services again. Next one. Where on earth did you, plus verb. Where on earth did you find that company? That was the worst customer service I have ever experienced. Next one. They're the ones who are always, plus verb. They're the ones who are always taking cigarette breaks and gossiping. You can also use some grammatical structures such as so plus adjective. This coffee is so bad. Or John is so loud. You can use such a plus an adjective plus a noun. So Mike has such a messy desk. Or this is such a lousy proposal. So you're using an adjective and then a noun. Okay, so those are some very common expressions we use, and those are some tips about maybe your body language, using pause and using facial expressions and things like that to transmit to someone that you're a bit frustrated or annoyed, but without shouting, without banging your fists on the table, and without losing your cool. Knowing how to influence people effectively in a meeting is important, especially if you work in an office. You may know how to make a decision based on clear evidence, but getting others to agree with you when you go against their decision isn't that easy. You need to add emphasis and personalize your feelings. And just to wrap things up, please keep in mind that controlling your emotions while at the same time expressing your frustrations is an art, and that for many takes a considerable amount of practice. Try using some of the tips and language in this episode to help you get on the path to becoming an influential meeting participant or leader. Okay, my friends, well, that is it for me. I will see you next time for more free episodes of the Art of Business English. Now, remember, summer's here, so stay tuned, because in the coming weeks, I will be releasing the Art of Business English summer series. I take a break over the summer period, but what I do is I re-release the most popular episodes from the last 12 months, and you can catch up on those because I put them together, 2 or 3 episodes into one podcast, re-release them so you can check out in one big long podcast when you've got more time to listen the best of the Art of Business English. Well, that's it for me, people. I've got a lot of work to do, so I'm going to skedaddle, I'm going to run, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to get out of here. So take care. I'll see you all next week on the Art of Business English. Bye for now.